These statements and comments have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This information is for educational purposes only. Engage, the micronutrient company, does not claim that our products diagnose, treat, cure, heal, or prevent any disease or injury. Engage's products do, however, address the deficiencies and provide our bodies with the nutrition we are lacking. This then supports the body to maintain balance. A balanced body can heal itself. Information you hear or see is not intended to be a substitute for treatment or a visit to your primary healthcare provider.
Very good. Thank you so much. All right, so I would like to talk a little bit about our formulator tonight, Dr. Kedar Prasad, and he is the formulator of the one product that was made for the military to protect them from radiation, biowarfare, and extreme stress. I want to thank all the veterans that are on the call tonight, because without them, we would not have this formulation. Okay, so thank you so much. And with that, this one formulation had 24 million in research. Okay, 14 clinical studies, 7 animal, 7 human, no medication contraindications, and 7 current patents on this one formulation. Okay, and tonight, in specific on this formulation, we're going to be talking about Dr. Prasad's patent, U.S. patent 7605145, which is the micronutrient formulations for the treatment of diabetes mellitus, okay, and also for his research on type 2 diabetes protection at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center and for the U.S. Army. Okay, so Dr. Prasad knows just a wee bit about diabetes, but today I wanted this call to be different because his work is novel, and it's really an exciting time for me as a biochemist to get to see his work really come into play when we look at it from diabetes and blood sugar imbalances. So with that, the series is called Optimal Longevity Series because I wanted everyone to look. A lot of research is being done in longevity. And longevity has a different school of thought and 10 hallmarks of aging. And then Dr. Prasad's work on nutrients and oxidative stress and inflammation. And really what this call tonight is going to be, Dr. Prasad, is really them coming together for people to get to see not only your micronutrient formulation, your flagship product, but the other 2 products put together that really can help people balance blood sugars that have not been able to do before. And this is really a very exciting time. So, Dr. Prasad, if you could just give us a little overview on the school of thought on diabetes that's currently out there, on basic type 1 and type 2, for people just to have a general understanding before we really get into the novel approach, what Dr. Cord is seeing in symptoms, how it affects our nerves, and then some testimonies. Okay, so would you mind doing that so people can get an overview?
Sure. First, diabetes has been there for a long time. And right now we define diabetes 2 types. One is diabetes 2 and one is diabetes 1. Diabetes 2 is acquired one, related to your lifestyle, diet, and environment. And in this case, you had a hyperglycemia, and when hyperglycemia occurs, it creates all kind of problems. And the type 1 diabetes is because, first, it could be inheritance because of gene. You inherit it from your parent, and you can't do anything about it. And also, autoimmune disease can destroy your pancreas, beta cell producing, insulin producing beta cell of the pancreas gets totally destroyed by autoimmune disease. And so pancreas cannot produce. So as soon as type 1 is detected, you have to give him right away insulin. That's the only thing you can do that. And also, pancreas can be damaged, beta cell of the pancreas can be damaged by infection. And so once the pancreas cannot produce any insulin, that is the way we define type 1 diabetes. So there is no prevention issue because we can't control anything. But what we can control in diabetes 1 is how to progress it. As you know, diabetes, despite insulin, I don't know, shall I go any further? Or
no, I think that's a good start. And if they had some symptoms currently, the current school of thought of the symptoms would be frequent urination.
Yes,
thirst,
yes.
You know.
Yeah, those are the classical symptoms of diabetes. But really, diabetes, at least diabetes type 2, you can detect it by detecting the fasting blood glucose and A1C. And A1C is important because when your hemoglobin binds with the glucose, and then they stay there bound until the red blood cell dies. And that creates a problem because this efficiency of the oxygen transport to various systems decreased if you have too much hyperglycemia. And so the current treatment of, say, for example, type 2 diabetes is 4 or 5 different classes of drugs. Some drug will prevent glucose to make liver to make glucose. Some drugs will prevent the absorption of carbohydrate and breaks down glucose from the intestine. Some drugs will prevent the reabsorption of glucose from the kidney, and that get excreted through the urine. And some drugs will stimulate the release of insulin to your bloodstream from pancreas. And so these are the major class of drugs, but none of these drugs address the main causes of diabetes, namely increased oxidative stress and inflammation. None of these drugs. Same way, therefore, suppose they start metformin is the classical one, first trial. But as the disease progresses, they become resistant. So then keep adding another one. As the disease progresses, because you are not decreasing oxidative stress, so disease will progress. And then you end up taking 4 or 5 different drugs. And when you take that kind of drug, then there is a risk. There's a lot of other side effects, but major side effect is hypoglycemia. And hypoglycemia is not immediately treated, can lead to death. And so there is another risk there. And same way is, and despite that, you develop a neuropathy, nephropathy, and retinopathy, eye damage, kidney damage, and a nerve damage. And so despite all these drugs, they ended up because you don't address the major causes. Same thing is type 1 diabetes. You start with insulin, they become resistant, then you increase the dose of insulin, increase the dose, and finally you start giving a medication, oral medication. And one of the most favorite one is the inhibitor of the enzyme called DPP4. And this enzyme prevents the secretion of the insulin from the pancreas. But there are also toxicity. There are 4 or 5 different drugs for the same job. And here is a collagen peptide who does exactly the same thing, inhibits the enzyme DPP4 so that the insulin can be released more efficiently and in larger amount to your bloodstream. And so the question is that why they have not addressed this issue. And that's why our product that we have developed, EMF, for example, collagen peptides. And another thing that they have totally ignored is the role of probiotics. Is totally ignored. And now we know it, that plays a very significant role in the progression of the diabetes, and therefore one has to consider also importance of probiotics, because what happens in all, as you grow older, with or without disease, and especially I have investigated Alzheimer and this diabetes more than the other disease. The intestinal flora balance changes in favor of harmful bacteria. And harmful bacteria produce a lot of pro-inflammatory cytokines, which get absorbed and creates all kind of chronically gradual damage to all organs. It also combined one thing called TAM. I forgot the full name, TAM, and they goes to the liver, then TAM get oxidized and then become very toxic. This is unique for the diabetes. And so that's why, as you can see, that when you either by itself, if you're early phase of diabetes, and if you take micro daily EMF and probiotics and collagen peptide, you will see a remarkable effect. And we are seeing remarkable effect. But even though you are on medication, then you combine with this, you will see remarkable effect to a point that if you get hypoglycemic, doctor has to reduce your doses of the other drugs.
So Dr. Prasad, I want everyone to know on this call, all that Dr. Prasad got from me was the title, just like you. And so how many years young are you, Dr. Prasad?
I'm only 88.
Only 88 years young, sharp as a tack. So I want you to know that's all he got as well. And I had some of his papers and I have many of his textbooks here. And so he actually went ahead on a part of the presentation because he's just ready to solve this problem, right? Yes. So we've talked a little bit of an overview of currently, the definition of diabetes and current treatments and, toxicity. And let's just be clear, insulin doesn't cure diabetes.
No.
Okay? No. And so one of the things I wanted to I'm going to bring Dr. Cord in a second. I want to back up to the longevity piece. So the longevity, optimal longevity, yes. And then we're going to bring in how the diabetes is one of the first hallmarks of aging, according to the longevity researchers. So we're going to bring that up and we're going to talk about that real quick so that we can see that piece. And then we're going to bring Dr. Cord in too, because I know he's biting at the bit to chime in. So one moment.
Sure.
Let me see. Well, here we go. We'll scoot this over, everyone. And so this is really the theme of the Optimal Longevity series is your lifespan is how long you live, okay? Your health span is how many years you live a healthy, vibrant life, okay? And you want your health span to equal your lifespan. We want this active life down here, like Dr. Prasad, and to be, which means that you can walk. These are the things we measure, okay? Walk, talk, think, eat and assimilate, and the ability to heal are all metrics. But in the longevity space, one of the very first hallmarks of aging, okay, and there are 10 that they're looking at, okay? The number one factor, the number one hallmark is actually, and I rewrote this to make it simpler, okay, is the dysfunctional nutrient sensing pathways. It are the most critical of all the hallmarks of aging, okay? Nutrient sensing, and that's what we're talking about here with the glucose and the insulin. I find it very fascinating that it's the most important of all the hallmarks and where they start, Dr. Prasad, okay? Yeah. And so it's an interesting piece for me. So with that, when I looked up in the CDC, actually, I'm going to back up. I'm going to say that in a second. Dr. Court, I want you to answer for me. What kinds of symptoms are you seeing in the clinic? Okay, and with patients that you're seeing that are really linked to high blood sugar that you may have not been taught, okay, that they were linked to high blood sugar and the importance of that piece and not to be siloed, okay, to be able to help patients.
Thanks, Jonette. Well, I was listening to Dr. Prasad and I was thinking diabetes type 3, which is linked to, they're actually causing dementia, saying that dementia and Alzheimer's is the new diabetes type 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Would you agree with that, Dr. Prasad?
Well, some people are coining that idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there in the literature. But certainly we know that it's all about the brain. Without brain function, the rest of the system ceases to exist. And so the symptoms, Jonette, that we see in the clinic, most common symptoms are pain. Obviously, that's why people come there. Pain's the last symptom to show up and the first one to go away. But in conjunction with that, we see headaches, lots of headaches, anxiety, and agitation. That's a real new one where we're seeing more and more people are getting severely agitated, and they get
Is that
agitated.
the diabetic patient? Are these
Yeah.
diabetic patients?
These are people that have blood sugar imbalances, Dr. Prasad.
No, but they are imbalanced, but their diabetes defined as a high fasting glucose, A1C high.
So
Probably more like pre-diabetic.
yeah. So
But
what
that's a
I,
different story. Yeah.
yeah, what I want to, that's what we're trying to get to. I'm just going to cut in real quick. We have 1 out of 3 in the US have been diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Okay. And then right now, 1 out of 3 are pre-diabetic, but 90% of those don't even know they are. Okay. And Dr. Court actually had an experience with this last week. So if you could walk through, Dr. Court, these people may not know that they have a blood sugar issue. They're coming in with these symptoms.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the symptoms that we're seeing, and I'm just going to pull up that photo that I took. The symptoms that we see in the clinic, again, headaches, very common, pre-diabetic and diabetic, anxiety and agitation. When the system is not running right, there's a lot of anxiety and agitation. And a lot of times this happens before they have a diagnosis. We're also seeing a lot of brain fog. And as I said, it is all about the brain and how the brain's processing. In addition to that, headaches / migraines, fatigue. We're seeing fatigue, and I think that is something that we're really just kind of passing over. And then probably the biggest in functional neurology is that we see a lot of dizziness and balance instability. And this is very common when we start to have decline of the brain, as well as slips in the eye movements. And these are all, Jonette, related to blood sugar imbalances. And so, in my practice, we would continually tell people, every 3 months, get your A1C, but we never really looked at it and said, we need to get a fasting blood sugar. Mm-hmm. And that's where we have really changed as far as the way that we treat patients. And in even myself, I think that it's just a really great biomarker, looking at fasting blood sugars and also uric acid. But in the fasting blood sugars, we're looking for 100 or below. That's good. Okay. 100 to 126 in a fasting blood sugar. And that's the blood sugar you take first thing in the morning when you wake up. Anywhere from 100 to 126, clinically, we're saying that that's pre-diabetic. And then anything over 126, we're looking at diabetic. But that's not a death sentence anymore because of Dr. Prasad's product. But I wanted to share with you really quickly. I got this the other day from someone who sent me their fasting blood sugar, and this says 520. Could you believe that, Dr. Prasad? But no, I see a lot of things like this. I see 520s. I see in the 300s.
Yeah.
And I actually have a client that's started out at 340, and he's now 80. And he did that within 6 weeks. So we know that we have to be able to combat this incredibly common situation of high blood sugar, but often overlooked in the medical world. This guy that had the 520, his doctor didn't say anything. He's like, come back and see me in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that's the kind of care that's being delivered out there to a lot of people. So
Well, they're not doing the fasting blood sugar there, Dr. Prasad. They may say, oh, go get your A1C. And then when that comes back, I'm talking about in real time. So everybody on here, this is a great thing for you to be able to measure. And because we've seen many patients in their 70s and 80s within 6 weeks, 8 weeks of being on Dr. Prasad's product, really balance that out. And it's really exciting. I mean, at any age. So I want everyone to know that on here. We've seen it numerous times. And for people that have had high blood sugar for a long period of time, I want to shift a little bit and talk a little bit about something that is probably new to a lot of people on this call. They might not have heard this before, but I'm going to do a little screen share real quick, guys, and see if I can pull this up. Let me see. Right here, everyone can read this, and I pulled this off the CDC, and I looked at the Cleveland Clinic and a couple of other authorities on diabetes this afternoon, just to see what the current treatment and how they discuss, nerve damage and talk about diabetes and high blood sugar. So here it says high blood sugar damages your nerves, and these nerves may stop sending messages to different parts of your body. Nerve damage can cause health problems ranging from mild numbness to pain, and that makes it hard to do normal activities. In the CDC and Cleveland Clinic, Dr. Prasad, it said that diabetic neuropathy is not reversible. I mean, that's what it said.
Yeah, because what they treat diabetic neuropathy, because sometimes the pain is so severe. It could be mild, could be moderate, could be severe. And when they have severe pain, they have nothing else to give except opiate.
Right. So, but what I want everyone on here, and we're going to see a couple testimonies right now. These nerves, when you have high blood sugar, the nerves get damaged, and they could be the nerves to your bladder. And that could cause incontinence, okay? That could be the nerves talking to your GI tracts, not sending the appropriate signals to the enteric nervous system or the vagus nerve. So you could have motility issues, right, Dr. Court?
Yeah.
Okay, we see that. Okay.
Well, as a chiropractor, we're a nerve doctor, so we see neuropathy all the time. But this is what I'm saying, Jonette. We see neuropathy all the time. And we are trained to look at the spine, not the blood, not looking at fasting glucose. And this is why this call is so important.
Yeah, neuropathy could be from other etiology. It doesn't have to be sugar related.
That's true.
Or it could be a combination of multiple things.
Yeah, exactly.
But we need to expand our way
at least we should look it for a sugar first, because that's the most easy thing to do.
It's
true.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, a lot of people on here may not have known that high sugar damages nerves. Okay. And we talk about kidneys, or we talk about other things. And this is, but that's really exciting to me, is that we have many, many testimonies about how this product works. And so Jeff, if you could mind playing maybe a couple of diabetes testimonial and the couple of testimonials, so we can be able to see really this in action. And then we're going to have Dr. Prasad walk through the suite of products and a little bit of the research, and so that people have an actual plan to be able to balance their blood sugar. So I'm so excited about that.
Dr. Prasad on the call here tonight. It's fun for me to be able to go back to one of the first testimonials that we had. In fact, this was at a meeting that David Nemelka was sitting in when he was still an investor in the company. He had not he hadn't started taking the products himself. But what you have brought up tonight, Jonette, is exactly what Bailey was experiencing. So a diabetic and severe neuropathy that had led to other conditions going on in his body. So just imagine you are the investor in the company, and and you're sitting in the audience. And this is one of those testimonies that changed David's heart. And I'm grateful that we can share it here with Dr. Prasad and 108 of our guests tonight. So this is Bailey. And like I said, this was back when we were still referring to this as MMF, or military micronutrient formula. So here's Bailey.
Get out of bed. Every time I tried to get up and get out of bed, my feet would just kill me. It's like walking on golf balls. I've been in the fire service for 30 plus years as a firefighter. And to be able not to do that, it just brings, it was devastating, because I couldn't function to serve people the way I want to until this product came around. My neuropathy is so bad that when I'd go to bed at night, I couldn't put any covers on my feet because I hurt so bad it did not bring me into tears. After 3 days of being on MMS, my neuropathy left. I haven't had a bit of a sense. I can sleep at night. I don't have to hang my feet over the edge of the bed because it hurts so bad. When I get up in the morning, I just jump out of bed and go. And I got so much more energy that it's good to be alive again. Because along with the neuropathy, depression. Depression is a killer. We know that already. I would get up in the morning and sit in my chair. Lauren would come home that night and I'd still be sitting there. I hadn't moved. I was so down that I just couldn't function. Now I'm a changed person. I get up. I like to get up and do things. I'm not pouring concrete now, which I could never do a while back. And Lauren and I are getting along much, much better because my attitude has changed. And along with that, I had a sciatic nerve problem that was another episode that I couldn't drive from Leeds to St. George without hurting. Well, that left too. I can drive a whole 100 miles.
I'm going to have you go ahead and hand the mic to Lorna.
Okay. You don't want to hear that?
You do want to hear this, and this is what brought us to tears.
I really don't know what he expects me to say, but I was ready to leave. I had had all of Bailey that I could take. Seriously, he was blah. He would, like you said, he would get up in the morning, he'd sit in his chair, he'd turn on the TV, and he would stay there all day long. And we had no life. We went nowhere. We talked to nobody. We didn't even talk to each other. And it was serious. It was really serious. I'd already made my plans to go to Colville and live with my daughter. And it was a done deal. And then I said to him one day, what is wrong here? And he says, I'm just so frustrated. I just don't know what to do. And then he got started on this, and I'll be forever thankful for Dave. And he is a different man. I've been waiting for 5 years for this cement to get poured. But with me also, I've been working 3 jobs, and I have a pretty high energy level as well. But I also am getting old, and I have all the aches and pains that go with being old. I've had hip problems, I've had arthritis, I've had all of these other things. And it's amazing. After 2 weeks, all of my aches and pains are gone. I used to be able to lay in bed at night, I'd lay on one hip for a while, and pretty soon it'd start to hurt, so I'd have to lay on the other side. Now I can just stay in the same position all night long. It's amazing. And we have so many people in our family that we're anxious to get this to because of asthma and ADHD and behavioral problems and so many other things. We're really excited about this because we can see that it works. We know that it works. It's an answer to our prayers.
Thank you.
Oh, it is. It is powerful, and that little walk down memory lane is just touching. Jonette, the other one that I had queued up, you'd asked for something along the lines, also circulation related, but with stroke. Is that appropriate now, or do you want to discuss a few more things and then I pull that video in?
It is appropriate.
Okay. All right. Well, this lady that I'm going to pull up also, it's going to go back in the annals of time, and she's going to talk about her condition, and it's significant because it's old stroke related issues that she's dealing with, and what by correcting the micronutrient deficiencies can happen. So here's Anita.
And let's see, December 18th of 04, I had an ischemic stroke in the left thalamus of the brain. It's a rare place to have a stroke. It's not a very good place to have a stroke. I came home in a wheelchair. They said I would never walk again. And I was determined that I was going to do that. So anyhow, I did all the stuff that we do, all the therapies, did it for years. Got to a certain point, but the problem with the stroke being in the left thalamus is several. First of all, I had neuropathy on one half of my body. So it started with my whole head, eyes, ears, neck, all the way down, just cut me right in half, hand, foot. And that's just terrible. All you ever feel is neuropathy, the cutting, the burning, the stabbing. And then that's your life. And they give you drugs, but it doesn't ever make it go away. It never stops. I could never wear sandals. I always had to have something thick on my foot because it hurt. The other thing that happened to me, my short-term memory loss, which was so frustrating, being it was in the left thalamus, just destroyed the short-term memory. Never had a hope of that ever coming back. I could never remember anybody's names. I couldn't, I went anywhere in the car. If I had to go the next day, doctor's appointment, wherever you go to, I had no idea where to go or where I was or what part of town I was in. That's how bad it was. I would go to any restaurant, any place, and I would always walk out of the bathroom and I could never figure out how to get back to my table. That's how short my memory was. So I struggled with that for 10 and a half years. And then I got on this in June, a year ago in June, and I started taking it, and the pain was a little bit less. After about 5 months, I thought, I'm going to try cutting back on some of the drugs, just see what happens, right? I was on amitriptyline, baclofen, Zocor, Lyrica, and meloxicam. And before MMF, I couldn't probably tell you one of those names because I couldn't remember. But so I started weaning off after about 5 months on it and just kept trying, and I was like, doggone it. I didn't feel any worse pain by weaning off, but I was starting to feel better. I wasn't so tired. And then, brain fog started going away. Relatively, it's still there. I know, they know me. I know, still there, but not as bad. You didn't know me before. So it's a lot less. I now can remember which way to come out of the bathroom and come back to my room. So all of those things.
She drove herself here.
Yes. Just and then all of a sudden too, I'll just tell you real quick. Even 3 months ago, my hand uncurled for the first time. 11.5 years. Did you? Yeah. Do you remember? Yeah, this pinky was always like this. This was always giving everybody the finger, and it was really and all of a sudden, that just uncurled. Another thing, when you have a stroke, you really can never do a lunge. You just can't do that because your whole side goes like this. So all of a sudden, I'm able to do that kind of thing. I can even sort of stand a little bit. So anyhow.
That is
Pretty powerful.
unreal. That is
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah, it is just what a joy to see firsthand these experiences. And so thank you, Jonette, for asking for them and including me into tonight's presentation. I'm just going to sit back and listen to this incredible information that you're able to extract out of Dr. Prasad and Dr. Court. So thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
Okay. Amazing, Doctor. You know what, Dr. Court and Dr. Prasad, I never tire of hearing those testimonies. And we need to now, get to the real root, of, and then the actual suite of products that you've put together now that can actually balance these blood sugars. And I'm speechless.
Not only that, but if you start earlier, before the complication of say neuropathy develops, it will not develop. Because oxidative stress, if you look the literature, increased oxidative stress in diabetes leads to all these complications.
Okay, that's what I wanted. That's everybody. I want them to repeat that. This is the $1 million sentence. Go ahead, Dr. Prasad.
No, so I think if you these are all, whether it is a retinopathy, which is eye damage, or kidney, as you know, it is increasing. Number are increasing despite all these medications that we use. I'm not against medication. It is good for support. But until you reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, you are not going to go ahead. And the only way you can do it, if you take microdaily EMF, as well as probiotics and collagen peptides.
Well, let's head into it, because here's the I was setting this up, and you're like so far ahead. You're like, we're going to the solution, and I love that about you. So with the flagship product, which was the microdaily product, and then and that's when the 24 million in research, the 14 clinical studies, 7 animal, 7 human, no medication contraindications.
No.
So it's safe. It's safe for this lady that had all this medication that she was on.
Yes.
But I think one of the key things here is that you added, and Dr. Court calls it the EMF, the enhanced military formula.
Yeah.
You added some phytonutrients and some special ingredients that you actually, I'm going to grab the paper while we're here. So the original formulation, and then Dr. Prasad has a paper here on oxidative stress, pro-inflammatory cytokines, antioxidant regulate expression of the level of microRNAs.
Yeah,
so in this paper, he actually identified the micronutrients that he wanted that would modulate certain microRNA, and he, from this paper, put them into the microdaily EMF formula, which is now patent pending. So it actually protects from both ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. So for those of you that want to know how, it's meticulous that he actually put each one of those in, and you can get this yourself and look up the actual the microRNAs that are modulated, right, Dr. Prasad?
Yes.
So that's the step in between, and which is really important. So the microdaily EMF it is proven to reduce both oxidative stress and inflammation simultaneously. There is no other product in the world that does that. Okay, it is our flagship product. It's an amazing. It's an enhancement to the flagship product. It's an amazing product. And it also is shown to reduce glutamate and glutamate toxicity.
Right.
And that is very important when we start talking about dysbiose and neurological issues. So this, Dr. Court, could you hold up that product? So this is our first product, and this product is the one that
Sorry, it's backwards.
That's okay. This is the starting product, that the multi-micronutrient product, and how this is different, Dr. Prasad, is that a lot of research that's out there is on one single nutrient. And one single antioxidant. Yeah. This research is on the formulation, everybody.
Right.
Okay? There's nothing else like it in the world. And so the patent for the treatment for diabetes mellitus, this is a really big deal. So
Yeah.
this product alone, standalone, and we've seen it in 90 days. And I want to talk about that, Dr. Prasad.
Sure.
90 days, every red blood cell in our bodies is brand new. Okay. So when you take this product as directed, okay, twice a day with your morning meal, okay, and then your dinner meal as directed, in 90 days, we know from both his patent and his research that we are going to be reducing oxidative stress and inflammation. And Dr. Prasad just said, okay, that is really the root behind this disease, right, Dr. Prasad?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And the reason is that, as you know, that if you have oxidative stress in your body high, and the question is why glucose, why hyperglycemia occurs, why diabetes occurs? Well, oxidative stress. So pancreas is producing a lot of insulin. It comes, but if the insulin receptor is damaged by oxidative stress, it is a protein, so it can get damaged.
Mm-hmm.
Now, insulin cannot bind with its own receptor. And therefore, if it doesn't bind, it doesn't stimulate another steps in the pathway. And if it doesn't happen, then glucose transporter 4, which is lying in the cytoplasm, cannot be transported to the cell surface. And until they are transported to the cell surface, glucose is not allowed to get inside these cells. Mm. So what oxidative stress does is that damage receptor, and therefore it cannot bring the glucose transporter back to the cell surface from the cytoplasm, and therefore glucose cannot enter it, and glucose level increases in your body. Mm. And so once you have antioxidant and prevents that damage, because those things are turnover, this is a protein, and new receptor comes, now they are protected by antioxidant, and therefore the glucose can be transported very easily. Yes.
Go ahead,
I have a quick question, and I don't want to derail this amazing conversation, but this is I'm pulling my hair out over this. So not only do we have, an increase in diabetes and an increase in pre-diabetes, but we're seeing this in children as well. And so my question is, does this work the same way?
In children, if you did the age under 5, yes, because it has the same function. Yes, your question is correct.
Thank you.
Good. That wasn't a derail. I appreciate that one. That's super.
No, I think that was very good one, because children also, maybe children have diabetes 1,
Well, and we don't test children. We don't do fasting blood sugars on children. I just was thinking about that while I'm sitting here enthralled in this conversation with you two, as just a bystander almost. But I'm thinking, man, there are so many children that are pre-diabetic, and I honestly did not know if the children's formula had the same effect as the adult EMF formula.
I think for children it would be, because there's enough antioxidant there. And in the beginning, children are much more sensitive. They absorb better. Their system is more sensitive, even sensitive to micronutrient. And therefore, it will be very important to have that. And before you get in, but if you have the diabetes, you have to have right away insulin. That means it is type 1 diabetes. You see what I mean?
Well, and this is the last thing, Jonat, but Dr. Prasad, the other thing is that our children, anybody under the age of 25 has never been out of Wi-Fi. And so our schools are inundated. And like you said, they are the most sensitive. So not only are they most sensitive to the diabetes, but they're the most sensitive to the non-native frequencies of EMF, as well as regular radiation.
And also this the EMF radiation, if you are close enough and exposed to high level for a long time, they produce free radical, even though smaller amount of free radical than X-ray or gamma ray, but they do produce. And if you have free radical production, it is possible, if your kid's antioxidant system is not very strong, it is possible that it can damage the receptor of insulin and therefore prevent the entry of the glucose. And then you can get hyperglycemia.
So I wanted to talk, Dr. Prasad, this is a super secret. So everyone needs to this is a really cool interesting fact. Dr. Prasad, when we were talking about someone that has a high A1C, which is a hemoglobin A1C, and that's the glucose sticking to the red blood cells. And so that job of the red blood cell is to carry around oxygen, nutrients, and waste. But if it's weighted down with all these glucose sticking around it, what's really going on, Dr. Prasad? I want everyone to hear this. This is really important.
That it cannot deliver enough oxygen, so you feel fatigued, tired, sleepy, and you don't know why. And this is one of the major reasons. And so it has another kind of side effect that, and then you don't feel overall good. Oxygen is so important for your energy. Everybody knows it. And if oxygen is not being delivered to all organs, including brain, you would feel tired.
So let's put 1 + 1 together, okay? You just explained to us that when we have all this glucose stuck to a red blood cell that should be traveling around, giving us oxygen and nutrients in the waste, and it's weighted down with all the glucose, it's not bringing oxygen, okay? Yeah. And another thing that can happen when you are exposed to non-native EMF, okay, and it's called rouleau, and the cells stick together and they stack. So if we have high blood sugar, okay, and a high A1C and the non-native, it could be another contributor to a stroke, okay, because we don't get enough, it's low blood flow to the brain, right, Dr. Prasad?
It could cause a stroke if you have a sufficiently low level of oxygen, hypoxia, then it could.
Right, from many sources. It could be from the non-native, it could be from blood sugar contributing, okay? Yeah. Obviously smoking, which is, and Dr. Prasad did write a paper on e-vaping. So anybody on here that needs to know more about that, he currently has a paper that he wrote just in the last few years on e-vaping because it's such an issue. Yeah. Okay, so that was a good little tidbit on the microdaily EMF. That's our first product. And that is based off of the US patent for the treatment for prevention of diabetes mellitus, and also Dr. Prasad's experience with his research at Walter Reed and many textbooks, which the second product and is of the trio, okay, is our daily the probiotic boost. Yes. And I measure the microbiome, and I have for a few years, whole genome sequencing. And I want you to know, I used to provide personalized probiotics to our patients. And I want you to know the masterfully made product that Dr. Prasad made here has a suite of both bifido species, lactobacillus species, S. boulardii, and Bacillus coagulans, and keystone, and that's the word that we use in the microbiome world, keystone species, okay, for health is put in there. But not only did he have the probiotics, he had the prebiotics. So when they're together, he has the food and the nutrients to feed each one of these so that they actually make symbiotics and they do their job, okay? And there are very few products out there that do that because a lot of the manufacturers are unwilling to put the prebiotics in because it costs money, right, Dr. Prasad? Yeah. And they're not going to work. They have to have the food, okay?
Yeah, that's a food for bacteria.
It's their food. And the building blocks of those keystone species that Dr. Prasad masterfully put in here is from his so much experience on nutrients, but he discovered butyric acid, which is a short chain fatty acid, which crosses the blood-brain barrier and is very important. So he has a lot of this product then helps our body assimilate the micronutrients better so they can do their job better. Right, Dr. Prasad?
Yeah, because in your intestine becomes healthier. And a very interesting thing that I just came across when I was writing my book, a paper that a butyrate producing, there are some specific bacteria produces more butyrate or butyric acid than some other bacteria. So in a diabetes 2, type 2, the butyrate producing bacteria declines markedly. And then another experiment was that we have resveratrol in microdaily EMF. So the guy added just resveratrol alone. and found that a butyrate producing bacteria is now restored. Number was restored rather than declining. So what product we have is not only that improving all other things, but it has playing an important role in your intestinal health.
Yes.
People just ignore. Intestine is the central issue where all decision makes even communicate with the brain, with the vagus nerve.
And the HPA axis. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of things. But Dr.
Yeah,
Prasad,
so
what I found is we're seeing patterns of dysbiose of obviously gram-negative bacteria that's producing LPS, but we're seeing a lot of Clostridium difficile, C. difficile, and the neurotoxins. And what I looked up today for diabetes is that the research is showing that they are actually involved in the glucose regulation.
Yeah, it would be. And so I think people who are treating diabetes, they totally ignore the intestinal issue.
And I think this is fantastic for everybody on the call.
Their main goal is to reduce glucose and nothing else.
Yeah, and for people to understand that we have more bacteria in our body than we do any other cell. And we really crosstalk. I mean, our microbiome talks to our mitochondria, and they're making all the building blocks. Like their waste, Dr. Prasad, is our nutrients. Like they make GABA. And actually the bacteria make B12. Okay, there are many things and amino acids. And so what's exciting is that Dr. Prasad's work, this product combined with the flagship product will help it assimilate even better. Exactly. So the results are going to get even better. They're going to get better and better as your microbiome, your gut microbiome gets healthier. So that's our second product. And you can see I'm getting excited because I'm in my groove now. The third one, which is an exciting product about anti-aging, and everyone talks about collagen. Why? And by the way, the Micro Daily EMF, the probiotic boost, and the collagen daily are all patent pending. They're all unique products, and they're a very novel approach to be able to help with anti-aging, with any chronic disease, whether it's Alzheimer's or diabetes, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and especially in case of diabetes, there are about 500-600 drugs, prescription drug, which inhibits DPP enzyme 4, that inhibits the secretion of insulin from the pancreas. And collagen peptide does exactly the same. It inhibits the enzyme. So in case, suppose, for some reason, it is not, is being impaired by this enzyme, collagen peptide is there to help you out and inhibits that enzyme, and therefore insulin can be secreted into your bloodstream to help you out. I mean, this is amazing. This function, nobody would have predicted it. Collagen peptide in the marketplace was just to improve your skin texture, right?
And so this is really important for everyone on this call. This piece of, and there's actually some research that Dr. Prasad found on this collagen peptide, which is separate, that he's talking about, which was a type 2 diabetes, okay? And not including just a standalone. But our collagen peptide is very different. It's a grass-fed. And first of all, collagen peptide is almost a complete protein, except for it's missing tryptophan. Yeah. And if we have a healthy gut microbiome, our gut microbiome should make that. Yeah. Okay. And so with that, collagen peptides are amazing. But by the time we're 60 years old, Dr. Prasad, how many of us really have the ability? Our body's degrading that. By the time we're 60?
Yeah. Not only that, but, it is all in your organs. I mean, 30% of the protein that you have in your body is collagen. That's an amazing amount. And how much is there? And different organ have different types of collagen. Brain has number 6, the skin has number 1, number 3, various organ have different things. And each has a different gene to make a new one. So you provide the total amino acid, each organ picks up their own, and then gene, according to their gene, they make their own type of collagen. That's the beauty of the whole thing that we are providing collagen peptides, because you can't give them number 1, number 3, or number 6. as a supplement.
No, and a lot of people don't understand that piece. And what you looked at is by the time you're 60, we have enzymes that degrade our collagen.
Yes,
and so
yes.
even if you're taking it in, so he sought out two enzyme inhibitors, one from Amla from his home, and he actually, grew in his front yard, okay, which I think is an amazing story. And then number two is white tea. And these enzyme inhibitors are very special, and they allow, as we get older, the degradation to not happen, so the collagen can go do its job. And then lastly, we have hyaluronic acid.
Supplement. Yeah.
And some of my work in stem cell optimization, without hyaluronic acid, that's one of the last ligands you need to get to the area of injury. So this product alone by itself is anti-aging, but the research that's actually specifically on collagen for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, Dr. Prasad, when you found that was just mind blowing, right?
Yes.
Without any side effects. So the drugs that are out there have a lot of side effects that block the what's the enzyme? What is it?
DPP4.
DPP4. Okay.
DPP4.
There are medications, but they're very toxic.
Very toxic. Yeah, there are at least 4 medications for the same job.
Right. So the collagen, our collagen and the enzyme inhibitors, and you know what? This is a 1, 2, 3 punch. Okay. This is it. So we're coming to a close, but I wanted you to know it was a little rough, but you know what? We got to the most important part, which is that this trio, okay, I feel so confident for those people on here. And if you don't know if you have a blood sugar issue, just measure. Don't rely on other people. Measure yourself, and just know within the 90 days, Dr. Prasad, right? If you start doing these, you take them twice a day. And why did you make them twice a day, Dr. Prasad? Why twice a day?
Yeah, because the turnover of these antioxidant is, for example, by evening about 50% is gone. Next morning another 50% is gone. But what happens if you have a lot of fluctuations? And this we have demonstrated in my lab using a 12,000 gene chips, that even this slight difference in a concentration of antioxidant makes a remarkable changes in gene expression. Thousands of genes get altered up or down. And if it happens all the time, that one time they can do error and cause mutation. So I said, this is not a good idea. I thought that it is better to take same dose, total dose, twice, so that the blood level remains relatively stable. And that kind of would not happen as frequently as you think. And that's the main reason that we have done it twice a day. And
I think that the circadian aspect of that, because that's how we heal. And I love that you make it a twice a day dose within the 8 to 12 hour period. And that's what we recommend when you eat, okay, to work on that. And there's standalone research just on that. I've got to wrap up, but I have a couple more things I wanted to say. Also, the latest research on blue light.
No, I don't want to stop.
I know. There's eating within your window. And Dr. Prasad and Dr. Court and I, we know that diet is a very polarizing topic. Dr. Prasad's been around every fad diet that's ever been around for years and years. And he taught nutrition and vitamins and cancer at the medical school in Denver for 30 years. He's seen it all. But the bottom line is that we have to have fiber. We have to have a variety. And I know when I measure your microbiome, what kind of diet you have anyway, because it shows in the families and the genus and species of the bacteria you have, because you have to have different nutrients to have a variety. But we also know, and I have I'm going to show this real quick, and I apologize if we're a little long. Let me see, I'll pull this one up right here. Dr. Prasad, this is let me see, here we go. I found some research today on blue light, because I know sometimes when we talk about non-native EMF in the ambient, that's still an area that, is being looked at. Dr. Prasad's work on ionizing radiation is, very well researched. But what's interesting here is the blue light, especially at night, impairs insulin sensitivity. And this is a newer paper that came out of the University of Geneva. It is not the only one. There's other work out there, but blue light is a part of non-native EMF. Okay, it's a part of the magnetic field. So I wanted to show this. And so at night, one of the things that Dr. Court and I do recommend is at night, just to protect your eyes, and when you're on computers and have a darker room and not have bright light, because it does reset your clock. And those things are leaning towards scientifically affecting, balancing blood sugar. So this is the ending of our first optimal longevity series on diabetes. And I thank everybody for bearing with us, because I had to get my bearings a little bit, but now we're in it to win it. And I think you can see that. So for the next one, which is 2 weeks from now, we are going to be talking about dementia, okay, and memory loss. And this is Dr. Prasad's book. And so we'll be going over actually the guidelines that he made for health practitioners and for the prevention and treatment of dementia. And so I want you to know, this is an amazing, it's thin. If you haven't gotten this yet, please get it, because we're going to be going over this next 2 weeks from now. And I'm really excited about this work, Dr. Prasad, because this, with your anti-aging paper, is a novel approach. Novel meaning no one else in the world has put the suite of products together to help with anti-aging and diabetes or dementia, okay? And I want you to know that we are seeing great things in the field with this, Dr. Court. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. That is
And
absolutely correct.
So, Dr. Court, I have one question for you, and then we'll thank Dr. Prasad. And again, 2 weeks from now, the second part of our series will be on the optimal longevity series on dementia. Dr. Court, you've been using this product for 8 years now for yourself and your patients that have brain rehab type of issues. Why have you chosen this product that you put your patients on?
Because it works. And we know that it works because we've been able to measure it. And without measurement, you're guessing. Yeah. And, it's just been a pivotal part, whether I'm taking x-rays or working on brain rehab, concussion rehab, issues with prediabetes, all these things. I'm confident that the products that I put people on, these products, are going to be the most effective for them. And I wanted to share this, Jet. There was one thing that when you were talking about your patents, Dr. Prasad, we have a patent on this pending.
Yeah.
We have a patent pending on that.
Yep.
We have a patent pending on this. And we have a patent pending on this.
No, I wrote
all those patents. I've written all those patents. And what question that we are meeting us again at Monday, 1 p.m., right?
Yes, that's separate. Yes, Dr. Court.
Oh, that's separate. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone, thank you so much for coming. Get back to the person that invited you on the call. Okay. And say, I'm ready to get started, because you know what? You're not going to regret it. You really aren't. And from being a breast cancer thriver, I look at my blood sugar and I monitor that. And I want you to know mine's in the 80s. And it's been 5 years since I've been cancer free. And I just want you to know I'm so grateful to you, Dr. Prasad, and all these people on the call. I know they are too. But this simple 3-pronged approach really can make a very big difference in your life. So we'll see you in 2 weeks, everybody. And thank you, Dr. Prasad. And thank you, Dr. Court. Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a great night and be well.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
God bless, Dr. Prasad.
Wow. Here's what I will say.
I'm thoroughly impressed. Rob called me about 2 months, a little over 2.5 months ago. I just couldn't believe all of the things he was telling me about this product. See, what most people don't know, I had a small, short stint with the New York Giants and with the New England Patriots. So I had some knee issues. But at the time, I was having problems with my shoulders, problem with, I thought was my heart, but like most people, I'm private, didn't share a lot of stuff with that. Rob did not know that I had those issues. And he started telling me how the product that Micro Daily was helping him, how it helped his eyes as far as the eye boost and the neuropathy in his feet. So what I did was I ordered the product. I wanted to find out based on everything he was telling me, and I did. So the first 2 weeks on the Micro Daily, the pain in my shoulders went away. Problems that I was having in my heart, you know, the doctor told me, I went to the hospital to check it out. They said it wasn't my heart. They did an EKG, but yet still, every time I came back home, I would have some issues. So much so I was afraid to go to sleep, but I didn't know if I was gonna wake up the next day.
Wow.
So when Rob called me about this product, I immediately ordered it. And the problem with my heart in the first 3 weeks, I have not experienced it since.
Wow.
Can everybody just say hello?
Hello, hallelujah.
I am excited about it. So I've been sharing this product. I got a room full right now with me now. We're talking about this product now. And what I do right now is everybody that comes within the 3 foot, I got a 3 foot rule. Everybody that comes within 3 feet, I'm gonna tell them about these Engage products. Because I tell them this product is bringing people out of the grave, and you say, Lazarus, come forward.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'm excited about it because I've been in network marketing for 25 plus years. I've been with some of the best companies. I've been with some of the best people. And here lately, I can honestly say I have not seen, and I've seen some good products. I have not seen any products that can beat this Micro Daily. So I take my hat off to Dr. Prasad, to you, Mr. Monarca, and I met some good people when it come down to Alfreda, when it come down to Mr. Jonathan, when it come down to Mr. Rob Martin. I appreciate it because I have a good sense of knowing how people are. God gave me the discerning spirit, and I appreciate that. And when I heard Mr. Dave Monarca talking for the first time a month ago, I said, yes, this is the company. And so I'm excited about it. And I'm in the background, but I want to help as many people that I can because I truly believe that this product is going to change some folks' lives because my oldest sister passed about a year and a half ago with diabetes complications. So I've gotten a passion for this. And I promise you that if the company want to take this to another level, I'm going to be one of the people to help them do that.